It's James with the Frugal Homestead. Today I wanted to take some time to show you how I package eggs. I've gotten a ton of great reviews on my packaging, and I thought that today I would take some time to share that with you. So first we'll start with the supplies you need. I always go with a regional rate box A. Your post office may have this. I always have to order mine online through USPS.com, but you can get them in a big shipment, and they are free. So that's what I end up using, regional rate box A. This is when I'm shipping a dozen eggs. If you do 2 dozen eggs, you're going to need to go with the large flat rate box. But when I'm doing just a dozen, I always use this one here. Get you the best shipping prices. Second thing you're going to need is bubble wrap, and the bubble wrap is what I use for wrapping up the eggs after I've prepared them. So you're going to need, for each dozen eggs, you need 2 3-foot sections of bubble wrap. So this comes pre-perforated at the foot mark on each of them. For now, that's what I do, is 3 feet. So each foot is perforated. Obviously, you're going to end up needing your egg cartons. What I do with my egg cartons is, when it's a dozen eggs, I always cut them in half. So I'll cut it here, up through the middle, here, and here, all the way across. Then I'll also cut it here on each of them. Just makes it easier for shipping. And then finally, on each of those tops, I'll also cut slits here. And this is for when we package it up at the end, and I'll show you why I do that. It just makes it so it sits better, and I'll show you that when we get to the end. Okay? So you should have them each like this. Okay? Set those aside. One of the biggest steps is having something ready for actually wrapping each egg individually. So throughout the year, we always save all of our Amazon bubble wrap packages. Any of the Amazon bubble wrap packages, whether it's the ones like this or whether it's the other kind, we save them all. This is the kind that I prefer. I think it's just a little bit more rigid, and it actually fits in the egg cartons a little bit better. But you can use either one. Either one works perfectly well. So with these, when you get them like these, whether it's the blue one or whatever it is, normally they're going to rip right down the sides where they put them together. So I'll rip them down the sides. If it doesn't rip, you can get it started with some scissors. And you can even just do it all the way down like that, and then just finish ripping it out. From there, I usually like to have 1 or 2 that I've already pre-measured from a previous batch that I'll just hang on to. And I use this kind of as my template. And what that allows me to do is try to maximize what I can get out of each of these. So I'll just slice it all the way down based off of that. This one's going to be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. I'm not going to trim off that excess. It's all going to work out perfectly there. So then from there, I'll usually count over 4 bubbles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll cut each of these at the 4 bubble mark to make my individual wraps for each of the eggs. And just do that until you get to the end. And this is something that you'll probably want to do in advance. If you wait till your orders come in, if you're doing a lot of orders like we do, this takes a lot of time. So I usually like to do this throughout the year. When I'm not doing something else in the winter time, when we stop shipping eggs, any packages I get in, I'll just take the time when they come in to trim them up like this and have them ready for the egg season. Just make them in strips. They don't have to be perfect, but about every 4 bubbles is what you want. And then the last ones, sometimes they'll be a little bit thinner, but that works. And then that gives you a good amount that you can do. So that's that part. And then this is another important piece. So what I use at the bottom of my boxes so with these boxes in particular, you're going to need to have obviously cushioning on the inside. You can use those little air pouches. I have used those in the past. Some of them I think are a little bit too thick and they raise the eggs up too high when you're putting them in there, and I think that can cause cracking. So I've come up with a different solution. Every scrap piece of paper that we get, whether it be junk mail or just wasted scrap paper that my kids have used or whatever the case may be, we always put it through a shredder. And we use this to put a couple handfuls in a bag. I usually do about 6 handfuls of scrap paper in a plastic bag. And then just make sure it's spread evenly in there. You're going to want to choose a plastic bag that doesn't have any holes in it because it's going to hold the air better. Then you tie it up like that, put it upside down in the box, and then kind of just put it in there for now, and it's going to act as a cushion for those eggs. And when you put those eggs in there, you'll actually push it down just a little bit, and that will actually help support them. And then you'll do another one for the top as well. So we'll do the same thing. Once again, use 6, or you can do a little bit more or less. It doesn't make a difference, whatever you think. I just do 6. That's what I've noticed has been kind of about the right amount. Then you do the same thing. You can tie it off now, or you can wait till later. And then once we get the eggs in here, then we'll put this down on top of it to provide the cushioning on the top as well. Okay, so that's that. So those are the supplies that you need. Then the next thing you're going to need to do, obviously, is wrap the eggs themselves. So when you order from us, our eggs are really fresh. We usually collect them the night before and then ship them out. So this order was for a dozen Americana hatching eggs. So these ones were collected just yesterday. I take each egg and I'm going to wrap it individually with these. Okay? And then I use a piece of tape, just Scotch tape, and put it on there. And then make sure, obviously, you're always putting the pointy end down on each one of these. And you're going to do this for all 12 eggs. And as you get going, you'll get better at it and you'll get faster. Just be careful you're not squeezing them too hard because you can punch the eggs. I've done that before, which when you have a limited number of eggs and you have so many orders, it can be kind of a bummer. Part of the reason I use the regional rate A boxes, just kind of to touch on that. Number one, I think they fit the eggs perfectly, but the shipping on them is also cheaper than if you try to do like the medium flat rate. It's a little bit cheaper no matter where you're shipping it in the United States. So that's why we end up doing the regional rate A boxes from the USPS. You can use the flat rate. Most post offices are going to carry the flat rate box, the medium flat rate. So if you want to do that, you can. They're a little bit bigger. So some people like that. These work really well for us, and since we do a lot of them, we just order these and they're free and the post office delivers them directly to us. So that's why we use that box. The next thing you do after you get your eggs ready, I always kind of set them off to the side. Then I bring in my bubble wrap and I lay it out. And you're going to take just the bottom part of the eggs. I usually like to put it close to about the middle, and you can adjust it where you need to. Then the side that's got the cut off side, that's not going to have quite as much protection, I usually like to give that one just a little bit more room so it has more bubble wrap on it. So I'll usually slide the side that does have the protection over a little bit. Then we take the top flap, fold it up to the bottom of the egg carton there. And then what you want to do is make sure that this has enough just to cover those eggs right there. And then I always give it a slight pull back so that it's a little bit more tight on. I fold that up, and then I end up pulling this down to provide the coverage on the side, and then just tuck this part up. You're going to want to have some tape ready. I always have tape ready, which I have on my counter. Just pull a piece off, put it on there, and pull it tight. Okay? Then you do the same thing on the other side. Fold the corner down, fold it over, and then fold it up. Grab a piece of tape, put it up. So each egg carton you're going to do is going to need 4 pieces of tape. So if you're doing a dozen eggs, I always have pre-cut 4 pieces of tape as far as like packing tape. You can use Scotch tape on this if you want, but I find that the packing tape holds just a little bit better. So when you have it there, you notice it already is providing lots of cushion. Then I'll take the top of it, and I cut this side already. And the reason I do that is so that I can actually slip this piece right through there. Okay, then fold it flat, roll it over itself, pull it tight, don't push too hard on because you don't want to break the eggs, and then fold it over there. And then I will use 1 piece of Scotch tape here, put it on there, and then you do the same thing. Fold down the sides, fold it over, and pull it up. And then you're going to use another piece of packing tape or Scotch tape if you prefer. Fold it over the top. And then the last piece, same thing, fold it over, pull it up, and you'll use your last piece of tape on this part here. And there it is. Okay, and then you'll notice when you're done that both sides have extra padding on the side, so if there is any side impact on this, it's not going to cause any problems. Okay, from there, I'll always take the side that does not have the tab on the egg carton itself. Okay, the side that does not have that, I always put that towards the inside of the box. I just feel like it gives a little bit more protection that way, because there's not much protection. This side has a flap that folds over, so this side towards the inside of the box. And I'll put it in here, and it is going to stretch the box just a little bit, but once again that's okay because we have that padding on the sides. That's why I like to make sure we do it that way. Push it down just a little bit, then you'll do the exact same thing with the next one. Okay, and that's done. Once again, side that does not have the tab on the egg carton goes towards the inside of the box. We're going to take it, side that doesn't have the tab inside the box. Okay, and then I always push down just a little bit. You're going to notice that that's going to lift the eggs off the bottom, that bag you put in there with the paper shreddings. Okay, from there, when you order eggs from us, we do send out instructions on how to hatch them, whether you have a nice incubator, it's one of the ones that you have to turn by hand, any of those will work, but we do send out instructions on how to hatch them. So then I always include this inside the box, fold it in half, put it on top of the eggs, and then that second bag that we did, I always like to fill it up with air again, just a little bit. Okay, and then flip it upside down. You're going to put it on top. And then with this, I always push it down, squish some of the air out. This is going to help it kind of conform to the eggs, form to what they are in the box. And then I always try to push it down around the sides as well so it keeps the eggs from hitting the sides. Tuck it in. Okay, and then from there, fold in the 2 middle flaps first, and then over the top here, pushing that in. And from there, you're ready to seal it up. And I always push it against my body just to seal it up. you're good to go. So that's that. Then we also include, for the USPS, we include a label to it. We include 3 labels that all say the exact same thing. Hatching eggs, live embryos, handle with care, this side up. The big one I always put here. And then the second piece, I always like to drape over the side, so you want to try to get it obviously as big as you can, but then I'll put it over the side here so that it also adds extra protection here so the box isn't going to open there. Okay. Then on this side, we have the smaller ones, and I always do 2 of those. Just attach them on the side here. These are the big ones. I've ran out of smaller ones. So in this case, I'm going to do 2 big ones. On the side. On this side. And then from there, obviously you'll attach your shipping label on here. I always purchase through USPS.com. With these, well, it's not necessarily a flat rate box because it charges different to different areas throughout the country. It is inexpensive. They do it based off of the box itself. I think you can go up to 25 pounds in one of these boxes and it's the same rate. And those rates range anywhere from $8.88 up to $13.33, depending on where you're shipping it. But you can do that throughout the United States, purchase it directly on USPS.com, and then schedule pickup at your house, and that's what we do. So you'll attach that, and from there you're good to go. Hope you guys liked this video, hope it was useful.